Okay, good evening everybody and welcome to the Macclesfield Town Council Finance Committee. Due to the coronavirus COVID-19 restrictions and in line with the local authorities and police and crime panels Coronavirus Act regulations 2020, this meeting will be held remotely, broadcast on YouTube. So hello to YouTube there, and can be viewed on the Macclesfield Town Council YouTube channel. Okay, so this is the agenda for the meeting at the 8th of June today. Okay, so first of all, could we have any apologies for absence?
Councillor Lloyd Roberts.
Okay, thank you very much. And item 2, any declarations of interest from members? Okay, so if there's no other declarations from anywhere else, I would like to declare a non-pecuniary interest for the supplementary item for Scoop and Scales Cooperative. Okay, and yeah, that's because I'm a member and I use the service that they have. Okay, so thank you everybody. Just like to start by thanking the key workers for their continued efforts and the people of Macclesfield for continuing to stay at home to stay safe. I think this is a message that other councillors will echo. If we could go to item 3, the minutes of the meeting of the Finance Committee on the 27th of April. David?
Need to unmute David.
So sorry. Chairman, may I speak about, as a member of the public, about one item, please? You can take it with that item, member of the item, but if you would like to speak now, that's fine.
Which one would that be?
5.2, Titherington Junior football defibrillators.
Yes, yes.
Can I speak now?
Yeah, absolutely.
Right, thank you. As you know, we are moving along about converting the playing fields, what they loosely call the rugby fields at Titherington. And we are hoping to have the drainage started this summer, which is going to cost a considerable amount of money, and in the future to have a clubhouse. The Titherington Juniors Football Club has applied for, they've requested a grant of £1,568 against a total cost of £1,668. This is for 2 defibrillators, and they will be taken to the pitches when the kids are playing, and in the future will be installed in the new clubhouse. I personally think it's very good value for money, and I don't know if this is a normal thing, but if the committee is minded, I think it would be nice if they contributed the whole amount of we contributed the whole amount of £1,668, because I have actually been speaking to the organizer now, and he was actually going to shell out the 100 quid out of his own pocket. But I think it would be nice if we did, because they're such good value. And I think that's about it. Thank you very much, Chairman.
Thank you, David. Have we got any other speakers?
Hello, Chair. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, Councillor Harewood.
Thank you. Thank you. Oh, thank you, Chair. I wondered in this, while I think it's a good idea, is there a current clubhouse there, or will there be a planning permission that's going to be requested before a clubhouse is established in that region? Do you know that, Councillor Edwards? Do you know? Is there a chair through you? Do you know if there's a clubhouse there already that fits in, or is this a new item that is needed and planning permission?
Thank you, Councillor Harewood. Could we, David, if you just want to come back on that really quickly, then we'll continue on.
If you like me to stay for the debate about the actual item, I'm happy to stay. If you want me to give a brief answer to Councillor Harewood, I'm delighted to, whichever you want.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, just briefly now, and we'll carry on.
Okay, Councillor Harewood, just to say that there isn't a clubhouse there. There was a clubhouse when there was a rugby club there. It burnt down or something happened to it and it went. There is some S106 money, and hopefully that S106 money plus Sports England or whatever will be contributing towards a new clubhouse, and these defibrillators will be installed in the new clubhouse. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, David. Okay, we're going to go to item 3 then, the minutes of the meeting of the Finance Committee on the 27th of April 2020. Councillor Wilson.
I'll move those as a true and accurate record of the meeting, Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Wilson. Do we have someone to second that? Councillor Wilcock. Okay, so all in favour? Any against? Any abstentions? Okay, that's fine, thank you. So item 4, matters arising from the minutes. Okay.
I'm off. Oh yeah. No, I have none.
Harewood.
No.
Okay, thank you very much. So are we okay to go on to item number 5? Okay, so over to the grant applications. Item number 5.1, the Macclesfield Music Centre Virtual Orchestra Project, asking for £1,005. Okay, would anyone like to speak on the item? Councillor Wilson, followed by Councillor Wilcott.
Yes, I would like to speak in support of this item, thank you, Chair, in terms of a grant to enable the preparation and delivery of a virtual concert, which will be broadcast free on the 28th of June. This is an organisation that provides tutor music tuition to people in Macclesfield, which would ordinarily be done face to face. Clearly that's not possible during the current situation with the COVID-19 pandemic. And I think it's refreshing to see that organisations are moving as much as possible to digital provision to continue support music and also move towards a concert. So I would obviously want to listen to what other councillors have to say, but in due course I'll be happy to move this recommendation.
Thank you, Councillor Wilson. Councillor Wilcock.
Yeah, thanks, Chair. I'd like to speak in support again of the proposal for an online music concert. Obviously, this time of year, the students and whoever looking at doing exams, obviously music is a GCSE that's taken. There are people within the community that potentially would be looking at music at St Mike's, doing concerts there. So the provision to be able to allow these people to carry on doing something they love doing, playing music, listening to music, and also to be able to provide free of charge for the residents of Macclesfield. I think it is such a fantastic gesture that they're willing to put their kind of necks on the line to say, this is what we are, this is what we're doing, come and listen to what we are doing and all the good work that's carrying on. So as well as Councillor Wilson, I will be wanting to look to provide the grant funding for this excellent proposal.
Thank you very much, Councillor Wilcock. I would also briefly like to say that I think that it's commendable that the organisation is looking to offer continued services and access for its students and for the people of Macclesfield. I think that's absolutely brilliant. And I think in general, it's good to see a lot of organisations moving their service so that they can continue. I think one thing that we should look for is that whilst we should also always be mindful of the fact that there are those that aren't able to access things digitally, and I think that one thing we should always look at is whether there is an option for those people that can't that don't have Facebook, or perhaps, I mean, as we see, people, you know, having one family member with the internet is not necessarily digital access, and we need to be mindful of that. But I actually, it's great to see what the Music Centre is talking about here as a way to continue their service, and I actually think there's potential for them to speak to new audiences, and I think they should really try and do that as well. So I'm also very supportive of it. Should we take it to the vote then? Okay, would someone like to make a proposal? Councillor Wilson. Okay, have I got anyone second that one? Oh, pardon me, I've got Councillor Harewood at the bottom as well. Sorry. Would you like to speak, Councillor Harewood?
No, I think it's an excellent project. We'll have to go further to see how long the lockdown will be. But for the time being, I think it's a worthwhile project.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Councillor Harewood. And also, in light of your brilliant music, hearing the musical track that you recorded this week as well, with your.
It.
Oh, it's brilliant! Yeah, wonderful.
I didn't know that anybody. Oh, I didn't know that anybody had seen it.
I think perhaps, Councillor Harewood, you might have to start a collaboration with the Music Centre. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So we've got someone second the proposal. Councillor Wilcock, thank you. Okay, all in favour? Okay, thank you very much. Okay, item passed. Okay, item 5.2, Tibbrington Junior Football defibrillators, and it's for 1,568 of a total of 1,668. Okay, thank you very much. Would anyone like to speak? Councillor Wilcock?
Yeah, thank you very much for that, Chair. So as I was reading through the application, I was looking at the defibrillators. Now, I've not long since passed first aid at work course, and the tutor on this first aid at work course was stressing the importance of defibrillators. Obviously, back in the day, it was just hot chest compressions and breaths into the mouth that were keeping people alive through CPR. The staggering fact that a defibrillator, if used within the first few minutes, can save somebody's life up to, I think it's about 75% chance of survival. It's almost like a no-brainer that these things do save lives. They are so well so well needed, and obviously the juniors football club are looking after not just one child, but is it up to 40 or so children. I think on match days I was reading up to 100. If you get two people that go down with chest or heart problems, these things are going to be so vital to save lives.
Thank you, Councillor Wilcock. Any other points? Councillor Wilson?
Yes, I'm very happy to second the proposal. I think Councillor Wilcox moved that proposal. I think defibrillators are vitally important to save lives, and particularly in a sporting arena where sometimes people who have previously undiagnosed heart conditions can be taken very seriously and very suddenly ill. And the application we have in front of us has given 12 to 14 youngsters die each week from sudden cardiac arrest. That's a very significant number, and as I know from personal experience, there are often no outward signs or warning or any knowledge that person has a severe heart condition, and the availability of a defibrillator is indeed a lifesaver. And so I'm very happy to second the proposal of £1,568 for 2 defibrillators. In the public speaking session, our colleague Councillor Edwards did suggest that we actually make that £100 more, so that the private individual who is going to make a contribution did not have to do so. And I would be happy to do that. So the grant would be £1,668. If Councillor Wilcock will accept that amendment, I think that's something that we should be doing.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Wilson. Councillor Wilcock, do you want to come back there?
Yeah, I was just while Councillor Wilson was expressing I mean, again, I would like to see the full full amount of money being offered. Can we just clarify with the clerk if we've got that power to be able to pay the full amount to the
Yes.
yeah, so I'd like to, if possible, move that we agree the full amount of funds that they're requesting. Sorry, is £1,668 to the St Juniors.
Okay, thank you very much. Very quickly, I'd like to echo the sentiments that generally the town council has established defibrillators across different parts of the town. Absolutely key to this is that it's close to where people may experience an incident. It's got to, you know, in my mind, it has to be in a valuable place. And I think that this, as has been highlighted already, it's certainly so here. Do we have a seconder for Councillor Wilcock's proposal already? Thank you from Councillor Wilson. Okay, so if we take that to the vote then, and this is for the full amount with the additional £100. Okay. All in favour, please? Thank you very much. Okay, that's unanimous. Okay, thank you very much. Item 6.1 for noting, I believe. Pete, could you just check?
Yeah, the supplementary agenda takes us to item 5.3.
5.3. Okay, so that's for scoop and scales. Okay, can I have Councillor Edwards as well, quickly? Sorry, Councillor Edwards, can you unmute, please?
Sorry, I was just waiting.
Pardon me, sorry. You have to.
Yep, I'm just leaving the meeting. That was a little wave goodbye.
Very good to see you in good health.
Thank you very much. Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you.
Just one thing, could I just point out, when you were having that discussion, nobody discussed all the parents who might keel over watching their kids playing. You know, that's real heart attack stuff.
Can be very exhilarating, I know that. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Bye.
Yeah. Good point. Okay. So if we can go to 5.3 scoop and scales, and I'm just grab the agenda, please. Okay, would anyone like to speak on this item? Councillor Wilcock?
Thanks for that, Chair. I've just got, I mean, I can understand how having a zero plastics available shop is going to be absolutely wonderful. Obviously, as the town council, we have declared a climate emergency in Mac, and to see some people getting together to say we'll provide these bits of essential, also household essential items, it's going to be great. Just, I mean, a few questions. Reading through the grant application, obviously they've got no premises themselves that they operate from. I was informed that we're using the old Sunday school to distribute the groceries from. Is that correct?
Chair, if I may, Chair, sorry. I may for Pete, I may just come in there and say, I don't believe it's at the old Sunday school, but I believe they've been working with other organisations, so the Hope Centre and a number of others in that regard. And yeah.
So just to carry on, so looking through the list of items available, are Scoop and Scales going to be looking to purchase every item that's on the list that we've been sent through the Excel spreadsheet? If they are, why is all this stuff going to be stored? Because it's not a small amount. Obviously, you've got items there that's a 10 kilogram bag, 5 kilogram bag, and if they're going to have the full list of items to purchase, are you aware of what will be available or not?
Would you like me to speak about it, to answer that? Yeah. So just to say that I think that so they've been the organisation has been operating, the cooperative has been operating as a buyers club very successfully for a number of years, sorry, for a number of months, and has had a very good response from people. And they're also able, I think it's very innovative that they're able to talk about the amount of plastic saved, the amount of to show in actual figures how they are tackling the climate change issues around the climate change, and I think that's very positive. That said, I'm not voting on it, and but if you want some information on it, I can certainly give that. Okay, is there any other points from people here? Councillor Harewood.
Thank you, Chair. I notice I'm not muted. I would like to hear more about. I will not be supporting it in a sense. I will abstain from this because I want to know more about this organization. I don't know why they should be doing those things or what they're attached to. I'm not sure about the application, so I will be abstaining.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Harewood. Any other points from people? Councillor Wilson.
Thank you, Chair. My understanding is that the organisation is already set up, as you said a minute ago, on a sort of buyers club basis, so people order in advance to be able to share both the cost of buying in bulk and also reducing the use of plastic, which I think is something that we absolutely have to support. I think that the grant requested of £1,200 is to enable Scoop and Sales to have some funding to buy and purchase and store items. I would have thought that they wouldn't have the whole of the Excel spreadsheet items all in store, because that would be quite a significant amount. But they have been successful, as well as the grant they're applying to us from, in securing £8,296 from the Community Bright Ideas Fund, which is something that's being run by Cheshire East Council. So we're being asked to make a small contribution to allow this project to expand quite significantly. I think the other point that's very important here is that this is a way of assisting people to afford items which, when bought on the high street, are much more expensive. And buying like this is sustainable, it's more economical, and it's a way of avoiding all the plastics that are destroying our society. So I will personally be supporting it. But I think, you know, we are playing a part in an organisation that's growing now. They've established there's a need for this, and they are wanting to grow, to have more resources to enable them to widen their remit and also have a new premises. So I think we should support their expansion. It's already being well used and well supported, and this gives them the chance to grow.
Thank you, Councillor Wilson. Briefly, if I may, Councillor Wilcock, I would echo what Councillor Wilson is saying there. Taking a cooperative model, I mean, it's relatively unusual to see cooperative models, well, in Macclesfield, certainly. But what's really quite interesting is the level of sort of community and support. And you're talking about hundreds of people organising to share resources and share time, work together to be able to work for an aim, which I do think is in line with our idea to change the behaviours of local people to actually to fight against climate change. And I think that's very positive. What's really quite positive about this as well is the step they're taking the step to move into, or trying to move into, a premises, and they're buying into the idea of shops and the town centre and retail, and trying to change that behaviour, which is really very positive at a time when we are seeing a real decline in services. People still need these goods, and there's a demand for it. So it is different, and I think there are challenges there. I too think it's very positive that the Bright Ideas Fund has brought into that, but also in the time of the COVID crisis, you see that they too, like Project Grow and like others, are providing a means for people to be able to stay safe at home and get goods. And it's been very, I think it should be noted as well that they've been contributing money from their members to the charities that are doing food packages in Macclesfield at the moment. So I think it's very positive like that. So I won't be voting on it as I'm a member. I've got all my jars of lentils and everything from it here, but I do think it's very positive. Any other points from the floor, Councillor Wilcock?
Yeah, thanks, Joe. So, I mean, I'm not against the idea of what Scoop and Scales are doing. As I said, there are millions of tons of plastic each year from all the retailers that are potentially going where they shouldn't, into oceans, onto beaches, etc. So I'm not against it. It's just I've seen Scoop and Scales on their Facebook site, and if I hadn't spotted that, how are they getting the name out there? I do want to be able to support it, but if they're in the Hope Centre or if they're in somewhere else, obviously it will take time for maybe a retail unit to be sought by themselves. How are they going to get their name out there to say, look, people, this is what we're doing? As you said previously, not everyone is online. Not everyone's got digital accessibility. It's a wonderful project that they're doing, but I think it'd be nice to try and find out whereabouts they're going, and advertising and saying, look, people, this is who we are, this is where we are, come support us.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Wilcock. Pete, sorry, turn it.
Thank you, Chair. I just need to clarify a couple of points. It's a volunteer organisation, a community interest organisation. It's not a profit-making organisation. It does support the council's principles of sustainability, community inclusion, volunteering and economic development. The operational aspects are for the volunteers, but I imagine this request for only 10% of the project funds would facilitate an awful lot more delivery from an organisation which has shown its own self-sustainability on the model it's operating under.
Okay. Thank you, Pete. Any proposals? Thank you, Councillor Wilson.
Yes, thank you, Chair. I propose that we make a grant of £1,200 to Scoop and Sales to enable them to expand their sustainability shopping project.
Okay, thank you. Do we have a second? Thank you, Councillor Wilcock. Okay, all in favour? Thank you. Okay, any against? Any abstentions? Thank you very much. Okay, thank you very much.
That's carried, Chair.
Item 6.1, we're able to go to that. Friends for Leisure. Am I okay to proceed to that? Okay, thank you. And is that's for noting?
Yes, Chair.
Okay, so first and foremost, I'd like to congratulate Friends for Leisure on the brilliant work they're obviously doing and what we can see from what they've sent to us. And that's great to see. So I'd like to offer sort of congratulations and support for that. Shall we go on to item 7.1? Okay, thank you very much. Reach out and recover, a request for emergency funding. Okay, Pete.
Thank you, Chair. This is a request for funding from an organisation known to the Council in very positive terms. Against a community organisation, a not-for-profit organisation supporting vulnerable people with substance misuse issues through accommodation and advice and coaching. The request for funding is quite brief and not contain an awful lot of detail, so members should be mindful of that.
Okay. Thank you. Councillor Wilson?
Yes, whilst I think that the request is brief, I do think this is an organisation that is worthy of the council's support. I think we're going to be in a moment at a future agenda item talking about the grants we have made available to other organisations and reconsider whether we're going to make any further grants. As the town clerk has said, we need more information before we can make a donation, a grant to reach out and recover. But I think we're all aware of what good work they do and how they have been impacted by the COVID-19 situation in the same way as the community organisations we supported at the very start of the COVID-19 outbreak to get funds out there to enable food and hot food deliveries and also food parcel deliveries. Bearing in mind that our next meeting isn't for some time, I would like to propose that the council, the committee agree that provided that we can get information about what the funds are going to be spent on and what funds are available, that we would make a £2,000 grant to reach out and recover at the decision of the chair and the vice chair. That will be yourself and myself, provided that we can be satisfied that the funds will be used in terms of the COVID-19 response that we've already done such a lot of work on. So my proposal would be is that we do make a grant, subject to the caveat that we need more information about what the funds are going to be spent on and more information about the funds that are currently available to reach out and recover, in the same way we would expect from a grant application. Not expecting any more than we'd expect from anybody else applying for a grant, but we would ordinarily expect to see much more information than this. And I think that, you know, we do need that information before we can make a final decision, but I wouldn't want to delay that until our next meeting.
Thank you, Councillor Wilson. Any other points from councillors? Okay. I'd like to say, really, in terms of feedback I've had from organisations, that the COVID crisis has really revealed the opportunity to do something about inequality, about poverty, homelessness, domestic abuse, policing and criminality in the town. The pause that we've had has given a lot of the people working in helping in Macclesfield are saying that there are opportunities to try and make a difference and try and stop things that happen to local people. I think particularly in the case of homelessness and addiction, the provision of a roof over your head, of regular food, of opportunities to socialise and get away from certain behaviours. People that work in that sector have told me that there's real opportunities there. And for that reason, I think that we need to be, when we look at this as an emergency, I think that as a council, we should be looking at how we can help them as an organisation to continue to enact positive change and be positive. So I just thought I'd share that one as well. Any other points from councillors? Councillor Harewood?
I would like to share around the chair's ideas, but I do feel that a lack of detail for the application is so necessary. That necessity must be there all the time, that you say why. It's not that I don't think that this group is not worth supporting. I think they are very much worth supporting. So at the moment, I will hold it. Should they put in reasons why they want this money, how they will use the money? It's not that I don't think they're not worthy of the money. I think they're very, very worthy, as I feel that these are the people at the bottom of the pile that we must help. But how can we balance this detail with the grant? How can we do that?
Thank you, Councillor Harewood. Was Councillor Wilcock, did you want to make points?
Yeah, thanks for that, Chair. I mean, just reading through the information, obviously they've given it some information of what they're doing, and during the pandemic they're unable to bring people in. The last sentence, it just reads out that they're wanting some information about how they may be able to apply for grants to help through the current pandemic. So looking at that, they want to be able to supply the further information, as Councillor Wilson has said. Now, I would be more than happy if they were able to provide the information that they want to give us. I'd be happy, as Councillor Wilson said, that the chair and the vice chair of this committee would be able to either award or not award the grant following that information that's been sent over.
Thank you, Councillor Wilcock. Councillor Wilson.
Yes, thanks, Chair. Chris has covered the point I was going to make. My proposal is that we agree a grant provisionally for the chair and vice chair to confirm once we have received further information that we've all agreed we need. There's no doubt about that. All speakers are saying we need more information, and I don't disagree with that. But we're all aware of Raw's work and how vital that is. And our next meeting as a finance committee isn't until the 14th of September. I think it would be a shame for us not to be able to take that in principle decision this evening. And so my proposal is we take an in principle decision to give the same amount to Raw we've given to other community groups for their COVID-19 response. But myself and the chair confirm that once we have received the information that we've all agreed we need, so as not to cause any delay.
Thank you, Councillor Wilson. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Wilcock, thank you. Take that to the vote. Okay, all in favour of the proposal? Thank you. That's unanimous. Thanks. Okay. On to 7.2, Parkside Bowling Club. Would any councillors like to speak? Okay, Councillor Wilson.
Yes, thank you, Chair. This is a grant application for £3,500 for the Parkside Bowling Club to install very much improved toilet facilities at their bowling green. They're putting forward a third of the funding themselves, making a significant contribution. They have been able, I understand, to secure a second-hand toilet block. And in securing that second-hand toilet block, I have some reservations because the toilet block provides for facilities for men, but only one toilet for women, which is not what I would like to see. I would very much prefer that there would be equal facilities for men and women in any toilet facility. But having requested further and better particulars, I have discovered that this toilet block is available second-hand and is significantly less cost than a brand new facility that could be 3 or 4 times more. So I think in terms of the grant we're being asked to make, and in terms of the contribution that the bowling club is being able to make, with the caveat that I have a concern about the ratio of facilities for men and women, I would actually agree that we do go ahead with this grant, because looking at the photographs we've been provided with of the existing facilities, they really aren't fit for purpose. And I think for us to go back and say you've got to spend significantly more money than this to get different facilities, I think would be unfair. But I do want to make my concerns known that the facilities aren't going to be equal, but it doesn't mean I won't support the grant application.
Thank you, Councillor Wilson. Any other points from councillors? Councillor Harewood.
Chair, I will reluctantly support it. Reluctantly, because of the need. Because I feel that we are doing something today that we may regret tomorrow. But because of the need, and because of this is what we have at this time, this is what we have now and must address now, I will second that proposal.
Okay.
Thank you, Chair.
Do we have a proposal?
Yeah. Did Councillor Wilson propose? I was seconding it, thinking it had already been proposed.
Thank you.
Had it not?
I believe yes. If I could speak briefly on the item, I think as a town council we are looking to enable people to be able to have more leisure time and not worry about access to toilets when they're out. I think that's something that we're all quite aware of. I take Councillor Wilson's point, because there are a number of female bowlers and users of that space that we're aware of. So I think it's a point well made. We need to be working towards having those facilities. So similar to the point about defibrillators as well, that we actually increase usage of these spaces that way, and people's well-being. So that's very positive. So should we take it to the vote? Okay, all in favour of the proposal? Thank you. That's passed. Okay, item 8. The COVID-19 community delivery funding, and I believe the council community events officer has proposed this. Okay, do I have a speaker? Councillor Pete, please.
Yes, Chair, just for background, at the outset of the lockdown situation and the restrictions to people moving and the advice for people to stay at home, the community of Macclesfield galvanised very quickly to deliver support for those who weren't able to support themselves at that time. And these groups, trying to represent every ward in Macclesfield, came forward to volunteer-led mainly, to deliver parcels, care packages and food and just general support around the town to exemplary levels, reflecting many individual aspects of the town's residents as well. We're now at a stage where the coronavirus COVID-19 situation continues, and consideration is being asked for how members would like to recognise and consider to support this ongoing service.
Thank you. Other speakers? Councillor Wilson.
Yes, thank you, Chair. We're being asked to consider whether we make additional funding of £2,000 for each organisation to support the ever-increasing need for the service for an additional few months. And I'm very much in favour of us making further grants to the organisations that have really stepped up to the plate. We've got fantastic examples of Create, who have been active in Macclesfield, on Macclesfield South and on the Moss for many, many years, who've expanded and massively increased their support. And we've got other brilliant examples where councillors have gone into areas where we've had no previous support and really made a massive difference, particularly on Brokehouse and Upton Ward. And also on Hurdsfield, the other councillors with Councillor Bennett Wake, and the work that's been done there with the Green in the Corner. I'm so proud of the work we've done as a council to make a difference in the COVID-19 situation, and also of how we've all stepped up to the plate in terms of the work we've done on this. The point I would make in doing this is I think we should take the same approach we've just taken to the raw proposal, where we've agreed to make a grant of £2,000 in exchange for further and better particulars about what that funding is to be spent on. So I would suggest that we do exactly the same thing, and that we agree we will give each of these organisations a further £2,000 grant, with the information to be sought about what it will be spent on and whether it's still required, because I know that a number of the organisations are doing their own fundraising as well. And then the final decision can be taken by the chair and vice chair of the committee. But we would be getting information on what is going to be spent on. I think it's sensible to do that at this stage, to make sure that the funds we have are going to the areas where funds are most needed. So that's the proposal I would make, Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Wilson. Very quickly, I'm going to jump in there as well and say it's so several of the councillors, well, all the councillors in different ways have been engaging. So Councillor Bennett Wake, our Deputy Mayor in the making, has been busy cooking meals regularly for the Green in the Corner. I think that's correct, isn't it? And Councillor Wilcock working with CORE on Broken Cross and Upton. There's all sorts of brilliant examples from the people here, but I think it needs to be mentioned as well that we in South Macclesfield particularly we have people that have very comprehensively stepped up to the mark to ensure that people don't go without and people don't unnecessarily suffer as a result. So there's I believe it's quite vital to the continuation of these services, which have been absolutely brilliant to see in our communities. Councillor Bennett Wake, got hand up there.
Yeah, just to clarify, I'm the commie chef, so I'm the potato peeler and the washer upper and cleaner upper. It's my wife Stella who does the cooking, and the other lovely volunteers. And just to reiterate what you just said, Councillor Puttick, and what Councillor Wilson has said, that although it's been a really difficult time with people losing loved ones and people being sick and so on, is that we've seen the best in people, that it's brought communities together. And I think it's been absolutely brilliant, the cooperation between the different organisations, but also between the council as well and the support. So I'd just like to express my appreciation to everybody who's done something, whether it's been shopping or getting prescriptions, doing a bit of cooking or peeling like myself. It's very much appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Wake. And any other further points before we go to a vote? Okay, taking Councillor Wilson's proposal. Do we have a seconder? Councillor Wilcock, thank you. Okay, all in favour? Thank you, that's unanimous. Very good. So too many screens here, I'm afraid. Okay, so we're moving on to item 9, the spend to date. To approve the spend to date April 2020 of £48,971.02 for recommendation to council. Do I have a speaker? Councillor Wilson?
Yeah, so moved.
Thank you. Seconder? Councillor Harewood, thank you. Okay, all in favour? Thank you very much. Okay, item 10, the Town Clerk interim arrangements. Pete, would you be able to help with this or speak on this item?
Yes, Chair, thank you. In the interim arrangement before a new Town Clerk is appointed, the financial side of the council's operation will be overseen by a civic officer. The civic officer has taken on significant responsibilities over the years, and the post has been reviewed to a position of administration and governance management, and will also become a signatory on the council's bank account once I am not signing things.
Okay. Could I just clarify, do we need to a proposal here? No.
That's just for information.
A noting, okay. Also, just to, I know we haven't quite come to the point, but just generally noting what a good egg we have with the Town Clerk, and you know the great work that he's been doing over this time. I know that's not a very formal way to talk about it, but I think Pete.
It's okay, I can edit that bit out, Chair.
Well, those watching live will have seen that. Okay, thank you. Okay, 1 second. Just, okay, do we have members' items? No, thank you. So we just go to that that special moment at the end of the meeting when we decide the date, time, and place of the next meeting, which is 7 p.m. on the 14th of September 2020, and the format, venue to be confirmed. Okay. So I would Pete, you've got a point you want to make? No. So I would like to thank everybody for their attendance at this meeting. hope that everybody continues to stay well, and we'll get to meet in the future as well very soon. Okay, thank you for your time. Thank you to the people watching. Good night.